Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo, where we're continuing where we left off. And we're in the hospital. Well, not the hospital, the school nurse place. So that's where we are. I fell asleep. For how long? What time is it? I feel a little lightheaded, and I keep blinking compulsively. Pushing the curtains aside, I squint my eyes against the unfiltered light pouring in from the window. The texture of the canvas feels nothing like the wind did before. The nurse looks up from his work, sitting exactly where he was before. "How are you feeling?" I can't really tell, so I don't answer anything. I feel kind of groggy from falling asleep at such a weird time. Hopefully, I don't look too weird. "What time is it?" Me croaking the questions to gain some orientation, the nurse looking at his wristwatch before answering. Things seem to be happening in slow motion. 10:15. I try to think for a moment what that means, but I'm not really sure. "You didn't answer my question, Sal." "Oh, fine. Climb down from the bed then, and let's see how you are doing." "Don't." I tried to do exactly that, only to sway dizzily when I move too fast. The nurse moves to support me by an arm and sighs. "Stand up too quickly," is what I was going to say. "Just sit there. I'll check your pressure to make sure." My good intentions sure lasted for a long time. I shut up, embarrassed with myself, while the nurse gets busy with an old-fashioned contraption on my arm. After a couple of minutes, he puts it away, looking neither pleased nor happy. "You're all right. Head stop spinning?" "Yep." "Good. And how are your contents doing?" "You didn't show very good judgment out there, Sal." I swallowed the retort I was going to make. It's what I was thinking myself, but hearing it stated by someone else makes me want to protest. What he's saying is not pleasant to hear. Doesn't make him any less right. "No, sir." He's not still looking as neutral as he was before. It would be easy to be angry at him if he said, "Told you so," or something, but he doesn't. "I can try and help you to keep your health, but ultimately the last call lies with you. However, this little episode will be something that will remind you of that. Here, a note from the teacher to avoid interrogation." I take the slip of paper he's offering and then make my leave, as I can't think of anything else to say, nor even want to. "Stay out of trouble, you hear me? I don't think it was anything but a scare, but next time it could be different." "I hear ya." There's some way to get to the school building straight from the auxiliary building, but I'm not keen to find out and possibly get lost. So I go out from the exit that I know works. I stop at the stairs of the auxiliary building, deliberating for a moment between going to the dorms to get my books and stuff and going straight away to class. The sun stings my eyes, so I head towards the dorms. The halls are quiet, as the courtyard was, naturally so since everyone's in class. I knock lightly at the door of 3-3 and push open the door when Matao calls from the other side. "Sorry I'm late." 15 pairs of eyes turn to me. "Good morning, Nakai." Matao seems to be somewhat confounded by my coming in late, as I interrupted his flow of something. Judging from the rambling lectures his classes tend to be, that might be the cause. I pass him the note the nurse gave me. Matao takes it and with a nod and reads it quickly. He lifts his eyebrow and gives me a kind of stern look, but he doesn't say anything. Just nods solemnly again. I shrug and he gestures at me to run along, so I naturally do. The class goes on lazily. I think I'm starting to get into the rhythm of the school. I have even stopped worrying about taking notes and being overly attentive. The first days I was pretty high-strung in class. Mattel finishes his lecture about electricity early, but continues without a pause about the festival. So, as you know, the festival is on the day after tomorrow. I hope everyone's projects are going to be successful this year. Have a good time, but also, come Sunday, please keep the meaning of the festival in your minds. Games and fried food! Everyone bursts out laughing. And so do I. Yes, thank you, Mikado. But what I meant was to say, what did he say? But what I meant was more the remainder of his sentence is buried beneath the ring of the lunch bell, and everyone starts packing their things. The child deliberates for a moment, but since almost nobody seems to be paying attention anymore, he gives up and sits down. God. It's crowded in the hallway, or as crowded as hallways in the school probably get. Most of the students seem to be heading down for the cafeteria. Normally I join the floor and grab a lunch for myself, but today is different. Today I've been invited to lunch on the roof. On our location, but that's where I was told to go. Fortunately, I managed to find shelter from the storm in the lee of the classroom door. Eventually, the torrent subsides, and I step tentatively out into the hallway, only to be met by Emmy, who comes flouncing down the hallway like a cannonball. Hey, hi Sal. Great timing. I have super extra lunch today, as promised. Let's go upstairs. The stairway to the roof is a little dilapidated, but it's clearly been used recently. At the top of the stairs is a door, complete with missing padlock. I wonder who the intrepid individual who was removed the lock. Henry shoves the door open and steps beaming into the light. Suddenly, a tall, dark stranger appears out of nowhere, standing imposingly in front of us. Amy flinches back, almost falling back down the stairs. Eek! Hello? Yipes, you scared me, Rin. Wait, isn't she... Hello? Noticing that Rin is speaking to me, Amy looks curiously at me. You two know each other? I look confusedly at Amy. She's that friend of yours? Rin has turned her gaze towards the clouds, drifting above the school. I didn't know you know that person, Emmy. This person, Emmy. The awkward silence lasts only a few seconds until Emmy lets out a tiny giggle, shrugging the coincidence off. I invited Hisaf for lunch. If you know him, that's just better. Oh, does this mean I don't get food? Or did you invite him for lunch without the lunch? Neither. I have food for 3. Nice thinking. They walk to the other end of the roof, while I stay at the clock tower for a while, taking in the atmosphere. There's nobody else but us around. I guess the roof is not as popular as it was in other schools. A few rundown benches and tables are scattered around the edge, perhaps in an attempt to make the rooftop look less desolate. The small pebbles covering the roof rattles beneath our feet. I peek through the chain-link fence to take a look at the school grounds and beyond. Students are strolling in pairs and groups around the quadrangle, and at the cafeteria. A few delivery trucks are driving past the school towards the convenience store nearby. Somewhere, a watchdog barks at a passerby. Somehow, when I take towards the town center, the small town feel strikes me very strongly. almost palpably. The hectic lifestyle of big metropolises seems so far away and foreign here. Nobody has to run to catch the bus like their life depended on it, or get their senses overloaded by the neon lights and traffic jam. I feel surprisingly optimistic about the new life of mine. Looking at my new hometown, even if it's going to be mine for only only one short year. Finding out about my illness and having to move away from home all came so suddenly. I haven't had time to think how I feel about it. When I step out of the shadow of the clock tower to the open, I feel warmth touching my back. The sun shines for a perfectly clear cerulean sky. A cool breeze sweeping over the rooftop makes me shiver, but only briefly. The wind carries the scent of trees and flowers, not smog and car exhaust like it used to, just a few weeks ago. Emmy settles on a bench with Rin in tow and produces one big and two small lunch boxes from her bag. Come on, Asao, what are you waiting for? She is beckoning me to join them, making room on the already small bench. Ugh, you guys are close. I sit myself on the corner of the bench to take as little space as possible. It's pretty cramped, but somehow all three of us fit on it. Impressive view? Emmy suppresses a giggle and places a lunchbox in front of Rin, and hands another lunchbox to me. Here you go, lunch as promised. Homemade no less. I'm impressed. Wow, this looks really good. Thanks. I make it myself when I can. Conversation dries off as I set about the business of feeding myself. Taking a few bites, I glance up and notice Rin deftly opening. Oh shit. Taking a few bites, I glance up and notice Rin deftly opening the lunchbox and popping a forkful of food into her mouth using only her feet. Even though I've seen this before, I can't help but be impressed by her dexterity. It's also a reminder of the sort of place I'm in right now. Will I ever get used to the sight of such things? I can't decide if getting used to such a thing would be a good thing or a bad thing either. Does getting used to this place mean that I'm giving up being a normal person? Or does it mean that I'm becoming more understanding about those around me? I'm distracted from my thought by the sight of Emmy tearing into her lunch, as if it had insulted her ancestors. You seem pretty hungry. Emmy looks up, mouth half full, and swallows before nodding. My morning run always works up an appetite. Which is great because then I burn through lunch pretty quickly. Helps in keep my girlish figure. What would happen if you lose it? Would you become a man? I very nearly choke on my lunch, trying not to laugh. It's a figure of speech. Does your figure have to run in the mornings too? Do you always talk like this? Talk like what? Like what? I think that answers my question. Never mind. So, I struggle to think of small talk and settle on the obvious question. How do you two meet? Rain seems content to let Emmy answer the question. Someone in the housing department thought that we'd complement each other well, so we were assigned rooms next to one another. Complement each other? Like shoes in a suit. Huh? Emmy giggles at my confusion. Put us together and we got all our limbs. Get it? Oh. So I started helping Rin get ready in the morning, and that was that. I mean, you can't help someone get dressed every morning and not get along. I see. Rin chooses this moment to interject. I have trouble with shirts. Right, that seems fairly obvious. Really? Kind of. This isn't helping, but at least Emmy seems to find the whole thing funny. That, combined with the fact that Rin is genuinely curious, makes me slightly better and get confused. I mean, you've got no arms. So, putting on a shirt seems like one of those things that would be, difficult. You know what? I'm just going to stop talking now. It'll save me a lot of trouble in the long run. Rin nods in what I suspect is meant to be a sage manner. I see. The conversation dies as I turn my attention back to my lunch. It's really quite good. Emmy finishes her lunch first and makes a contented noise. Ah, that was good. As she busies herself with cleaning up her lunch, Rin speaks up. I'm thirsty. Oh, I almost forgot about that. Sorry. With a flourish, she reaches into her bag and removes a trio of juice boxes. She tosses me one that appears to be cranberry juice, one to Rin that appears to be some kind of strawberry milk, complete with pink color scheme, and keeps an equally pink box of some kind of fruit punch for herself. Rin dexterously stabs her straw through the top of the box and begins to drink. I'm once again impressed by how flexible she is, but this time I keep my comment to myself. Somehow I don't think either Emmy or Rin are the sort of people to think twice about the way they work around their particular disabilities. Rin especially so. Indeed, she gives off an impression of being entirely unaware that she's missing any limbs at all. Whether or not that's a conscious decision is another matter. I'm honestly not sure. So, Asal, how do you like it up here? It's quite nice, actually. I like high places for the view. Thanks for inviting me up here. And for lunch, too. Emmy grins a 1,000-watt grin. Pleased by my response, I suppose. No problemo. Feel free to eat with us next time, too, okay? I won't make you a lunch, but you can bring your own up here. No lunch service? I don't know. Emmy looks mock offended. Trying to take advantage of my good nature? The nerve of some people. She giggles. Well, if that's your answer, I guess Rin and I just keep eating lunch all alone. I'm suddenly assaulted by the most heart-rending puppy dog eyes I've ever seen Emmy pout. Kidding. I was kidding. I'd love to eat lunch up here again. Good location, and the company's okay too. Emmy frowns a bit at the declaration of okay, but seems happy enough that I've accepted her invitation. I guess this makes us friends now. Or at least acquaintances. The lunch bell rings, signaling a return downstairs. Rin, you didn't finish your lunch again. I wasn't that hungry. If you don't eat more, you're going to fade away. Rin shrugs, as if this is an acceptable risk. Come on, we better get going. The three of us head downstairs together. I think this is a good place to stop, so next time we'll continue from here. See you guys later.